Hey guys, what's going on? Wayne from OWC here. Let's picture this. You're on the road for a photo or video shoot, and you've got the shoot done, and now you're starting to ingest your files to back them up. Or maybe you've already done that, you've got the files backed up and everything, and you've headed back to the hotel to start getting some editing work done because your deadline is looming within the next 24 to 48 hours. You got to get this work done on the road, and bam, whoa, your Mac decides to act up. Maybe the internal drive has an issue. Maybe your macOS installation has gotten corrupted somehow. Complete nightmare, right? Now, compounding matters, you're on the road. And what if you don't have access to fast, reliable Wi-Fi so you can download or re-download that macOS installer? It's a really big file. It's usually between 12 and 20 gigabytes. Maybe you have no Wi-Fi at all. That's a situation that can go from annoying to critical very quickly. But what if I told you there's something you can do before all of this happens that's a super reliable way to get yourself back up and running, even if you're completely offline in an emergency like this? Today, I'm going to show you how to create an absolute lifesaver, a bootable macOS Sequoia recovery drive. In this video, we're going to walk through exactly why you need an emergency macOS boot drive, and then we'll go through the step-by-step process of creating one using one of two of our drives. First up is the Envoy Pro Elektron. This thing is a beast. This is probably my favorite thing that we make here at OWC. It's crush-proof, dust-proof, it's even waterproof with an IP67 rating. Plus, it's packing an NVMe SSD with speeds up to 1011 megabytes per second. That's a gigabyte per second. So creating your installer and reinstalling macOS from this drive is going to be super, super quick. Plus, it's compact, it's bus powered via USB-C, so you don't have to have like an external power source for it. And obviously, I mean, you can kind of hear how solid this thing is. It's built to last. But let's say you need something even more pocketable. That's where the OWC Envoy Pro Mini comes in. But look, don't let the tiny size of this guy fool you. This is a full-fledged SSD in here. It's not your typical thumb drive. It looks like a thumb drive, but it's actually a full-fledged SSD with speeds up to 946 megabytes per second. It's incredibly versatile thanks to its integrated USB-C and USB-A connectors, and the form factor makes it perfect to throw on a keychain or a lanyard or, put it in a small pocket so it's always with you. It really will blend into any environment that you have, so it's never really in the way. Super, super handy. So for today's demonstration, we're going to be using the Envoy Pro Elektron, but the process is going to be identical no matter what drive or drive type you're using. You'll want at least 16 gigabytes for a job like this. I would really recommend 32 gigabytes or more to have comfort. Obviously, the OWC Envoy Pro Mini and the Envoy Pro Elektron both have much, much more space than just the 32 gigabytes, so you'll be good to go on that front. Okay, so let's get this done. Let's create a macOS recovery boot drive. It's pretty straightforward. First, you're going to need the macOS Sequoia installer. You're going to grab this from the Mac App Store. So to do that, you'll open up the Mac App Store. You're going to search macOS Sequoia in the search bar, and then you're going to click on that Get button. Or if you've previously downloaded this already, it'll be that cloud with the down arrow button. Now, the macOS installer is going to download to your applications folder. Now, make sure what downloads there is the full installer. That's usually going to be around 12 to 14 gigabytes in size. Now, if it launches right after you download the installer, which it tends to do, just go ahead and quit out of that installer for now. We don't want to install it on our main drive yet. All right, so next up in the process, we're going to connect our OWC drive, and we're going to format it. And the reason we have to format it is that we're making this a bootable installer drive. That means a drive that your Mac can actually boot from. So it's not going to boot from the internal drive whenever you're doing macOS recovery. It's actually going to boot from this drive and the installer itself. Let's start up by going on our Mac and opening up Disk Utility. Now you'll find Disk Utility in Applications, and then Utilities and Disk Utility. Now, super important, in Disk Utility, make sure you go to the View menu and then select Show All Devices. Now, this way, that means that when you look at the sidebar in Disk Utility, you're going to see the parent top-level drive, not just any volumes that have been created on that drive. You want to make sure you can see the parent top level of the drive we're formatting. Now, in Disk Utility, go ahead and select the OWC drive. And remember, you want to make sure to select the top level of the drive. And then you're going to click Erase. Now, give your drive, whenever it prompts you to name the drive that you're erasing, you want to give it a simple name. I'm going to call mine Sequoia Boot, one word, no spaces, and that's going to make this next step a little bit easier. Now, for the format, we're going to choose APFS or macOS Extended and journaled in parentheses. Now, personally, I've done this before, and I've had issues when choosing APFS as the format, even though that is Apple's most recent disk formatting for macOS. But I've had troubles when it comes to bootable installers in terms of actually creating the drive with it wanting to do it when I formatted it as APFS. You can try APFS if you want. The safest thing that I have found is just going ahead and formatting the drive as macOS Extended Journaled. So that's what I'm going to go with. And so next up, you're going to want to make sure the scheme is set to GUID partition map, and then you're going to hit erase. Okay, so now that our drive is prepped, we get on to the magic, terminal. Now you'll find terminal in the utilities folder in applications as well. Now with terminal open, we're going to type or paste in a specific command. Now, I'm going to put this on the screen for you, and it'll also be in the description of the video as well. But the key segment of this command is /volumes/ and then the name of your drive. You're going to need to replace the your drive name here with whatever name that you gave your OWC drive. So in my case, I chose Sequoia Boot. So for me, the tail end of this text string is going to be /volumes/ Sequoia Boot. Okay, and then you're going to hit return. And then terminal is going to ask you for your Mac's administrator password. Go ahead and type that in. You're not going to see any characters appear. That's perfectly normal. And then once you've typed in your password, hit return again. All right, now terminal is going to warn you that the drive is going to be completely erased. We're totally fine with that. We know what we're doing because we're highly functioning adults. So we're going to type Y. We're going to press return to confirm. And now we're just going to let it do its thing. Now, this can take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, maybe a bit more, but that really depends on your drive speed. But we're using an Envoy Pro Elektron, so that means that this is going to take a couple of minutes at most. Now, during this process, you're going to see terminal erase the disk, copy the files, and make the disk bootable. Don't interrupt it. And we're done. You're going to get a confirmation message in terminal, and you have officially created your macOS Sequoia bootable recovery drive. All right, so let's talk about how we boot from this recovery drive that we just created. In an emergency, if you have a Mac with Apple Silicon, like an M1, an M2, M3, M4 chip, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to shut your computer down. Now, once the Mac is shut down, that's when you're going to connect your recovery drive. Then you're going to press and hold the power button of your M series Mac until you see loading startup options. Then you'll just click your bootable installer that you created and you'll click continue. And then you'll kind of go through the normal macOS setup process. But what if you have an Intel-based Mac? For Intel-based Macs, this process does differ a little bit. You're still going to shut the computer down and then connect your drive. And then you're going to turn it on, but instead of holding down that power button, if you have an Intel-based Mac, you're going to immediately press and hold the Option key. You're going to keep holding that Option key until you see the Startup Manager, and then you'll select your installer drive, and from there, it's the same process. Now, from there, the macOS Utilities window is going to pop up, and then you can reinstall macOS, use disk utility to kind of like figure out what's going on with a particular drive, and more. Another good idea is to really pair a portable time machine backup with this recovery drive. So let's say you've got a couple of OWC Envoy Pro Elektrons. One of them could be the recovery drive, and the other could be your time machine backup. Or maybe, the Elektron could be your recovery drive, or the Pro Mini could be your time machine, or vice versa. If you have both of these, you can see how much space they're going to take up in a bag. Even together, it's basically nothing. This is like smaller than what a lot of SSD, just single drives out there are. So you could put Time Machine on your Pro Mini, and you could put your macOS installer on your Elektron and be really good to go. And then that way you'll be able to recover macOS and get a fresh install going on your Mac, and then restore all of your backed up data in like 10 to 15 minutes. Now, another pro tip that I've seen some photographers and video pros employ is basically if you have a spare CF Express card, use that as one of your time machine backups. Now, I've got one of our CF Express Type A cards here. It's super speedy, but our CF Express Type B cards are even faster. Might seem like a silly way to use a CF Express card, especially if you're on the road and you're shooting. But if you do have a spare one or one that you're not using, they can make really, really quick time machine backups. All right, guys, that's how you create the ultimate Mac safety net. It's a macOS boot drive with Envoy Pro Elektron or Envoy Pro Mini. Seriously, taking 30 minutes now to make one of these can really save you hours of headache and stress down the line. So don't wait until you're, in a coffee shop on slow Wi-Fi or, in a flop sweat in the hotel lobby because of your dead Mac. Go ahead and do this now. I'm going to drop links to both the OWC Envoy Pro Elektron and the Envoy Pro Mini down in the description below so that you can check them out. Please do check them out on our website at OWC.com. Along with all of our other really awesome stuff, if you're a video or a creative professional, we have tons of solutions that are made with you in mind. So yeah, head to OWC.com. What are your Creative Pro emergency preparedness tips for your Mac? What things do you always have with you whenever you're out on the road? Share with the class. Let us know how you stay prepared for terrible emergencies in the comments. If this video was helpful at all, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help the channel out. And make sure you subscribe here to the OWC YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on our future videos and announcements. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.